What's considered poor in Singapore?
Everything, because it's Singapore. If it was rich, it would be called Singa-Rich.
That's true. They should change the name at this point to Singa-Rich. Because Singapore doesn't mean anything, right?
No, not at all. It probably doesn't mean anything in a different language.
I'm singing in Singapore. We actually sang in Singapore on our travel vlog channel. The video is going to be posting right now.
It's already up there. Go check out the travel vlog channel. Link in the description. You can go see some epic first impressions of this beautiful city.
And singing in Singapore.
I'm assuming what's considered poor in Singapore might be an interesting topic because it is a very rich country.
In the last video we watched, or the Geography Now one, I don't remember which one it was, they talked about that there is some income inequality in Singapore, so that'll be interesting to see. What's poor is actually lower than we expect.
It might be. It might be.
So let's find out. Here we go.
Poor for Singapore right now, I can say it's about 1,000. I mean, not all Singaporeans are very rich. All the media shows you is all the good part of Singapore, you know, to bring Singapore name up.
Hey bosses, it's Elena from Asian Boss. As Singapore shares
I'm
the
a
title
boss.
of the world's most expensive city with New York,
I have to say, I mean, it shocked me. That is some. I've never seen nose rings like that. I've never seen the one on the front.
She has like 3 there, and then does that one go through in there too?
That would hurt. What the heck?
Asian Boss. As Singapore
Sorry if
shares
that's
the
a
title
cultural
of the
thing.
world's
I'm
most
very
expensive
shocked. I've
city
never
with
seen
New
that.
York, we conducted a street interview to find out about the high living costs in Singapore. While people in that video shared about the high living costs and expensive lifestyles, this time we were curious to find out about what's considered poor in Singapore. To find out, we visited an area that's less well off to see some different perspectives. Let's go.
It'd be interesting to see a less well-off neighborhood. We got fruit.
Overseas, Singapore is known as a country where people are generally quite modern and well-to-do. But today we want to find out how true that is. Do you think that there are a lot of poor people in Singapore?
Of course, you look at Bukit Merah, you know, this is the lowest rung of the zone in Singapore, you know.
Then do you also know a lot of these people that you consider as low income?
Everybody here I know, they are all low income. A rich man don't come here.
那你自己有做工吗？
没有，我的朋友在这边卖油条，也是帮他。
那新加
我的脚现在不大好，因为我有针灸嘛，人不要紧啊，我是这样的，因为东西很贵。
If you don't mind, what do you do for a living, or what do you used to do if you are retired?
I haven't retired. The living standard so high. I dare not retire. I come to 70, still work.
So, what's your
geez.
job?
Oh, I'm the architectural consultant. I'm a
Sounds like it'd be
tattoo
high paying.
artist.
Yeah.
How much do you make roughly every month?
Some months are so good and some are just so bad. Yeah. So, you know, sometimes to make like $5,000, it can be difficult as well. Yeah.
Currently, I'm a freelance driver. Yeah.
Uber driver?
And roughly what's the range that you earn per month, if you don't mind sharing?
Less than 5K. Yeah. Less than 5K.
That's pretty decent.
And then
I
for
think,
you
for-
personally, your current
driver.
income, do you feel like it's enough to survive in Singapore?
For me alone, no issue. If for family, then it's tough. Yeah.
Actually, I'm a financial advisor, but earning about 4 to 5.
So the financial advisor earns less than the Uber driver?
Yeah, that's interesting. What?
They have too many financial advisors in Singapore.
I guess there's so
apparently.
much finances to be advised in Singapore.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Then for yourself, do you feel that your current income is enough for you to survive?
Survive barely lah, but if can have more, it's better lah. Yeah.
So actually 4 to 5 is considered the average in Singapore. But in your opinion, what would be considered low income as a salary?
Low would be, I feel, 1,008 to 2.2. Yeah.
What is an amount that you would consider to be low income?
I would say 1,500, 2,000. Yeah.
Below 2,000 is considered low income. 2 to
Which-
4 is average.
I think would be the same in the US then. for like the poverty line. I don't
Yeah.
know what the poverty line's at, but that would be 12K a year, or like 12 to 15. I think, isn't it like a lot higher than that?
It would be pretty rough to survive in your own place, even where we're from. And we're from is cheaper than places like California on $1,200 a month. I don't think it's possible.
I mean, your rent would be $800, and then food $400 plus, and then you're out of money.
You would be scraping
And
by.
if you're in the U.S., you need a car.
Yeah. So there's another payment. And then health insurance is also very expensive.
Yeah, 1,200 is not enough for the U.S. Huh.
And that's Minnesota. In California or New York or Chicago or some big city, you're going to have to have like at least double.
The rent will be 1,500
At least.
for
Yeah.
just like one person.
So, yeah, that's definitely not enough in the U.S. either.
Interesting.
Rich. 5 is slightly more comfortable, I will say that. Nowadays, some youngsters without education, they also can take below 2,000. I don't know how they survive. That's why government subsidize and support them.
Consider poor for Singapore right now, I can say it's about 1,000. You need more than 5K. You can call it rich. Yeah.
So why do you need more than 5K? What is the things that people generally spend on in Singapore that's so expensive?
Now due to Singapore increasing the GST, so Singapore is getting expensive for houses, clothes, and even cars, transport all lah.
很多东西都很贵，吃的东西很贵，要买什么都很贵啊。
那你自己个人的生活费每个月是花多少钱呢？
啊，我在家里我不用花钱啊，只是还屋租啊，26块了。
Well, that's cheap.
只是那个 MP 帮我的啊。
Oh, I see.
26块，等于我水电费不用还了。他政府有欠我钱了，然后也是不可以拿回去啊。
那你的屋子26块是怎样的屋子呢？
没房没厅的，
那你觉得你这样过生活是会舒服吗？
OK 啦，有时在楼下有分米啊，分什么东西给我。
那你觉得每个月需要多少钱你才过得比较舒服呢？
有200、300这样啊，
Wow.
200、300的。
And how much
See,
would
some
you
people like her, obviously she is not wealthy at all. I
No.
mean, she barely needs anything, and that would be better than her current situation.
Yeah, there's also a huge perspective to this. The financial advisor here who's making what's considered a very average, nice income might have a higher version of poor than someone who is poor.
Different standards, different. I mean, I guess if this guy has to commute to an office
Yeah.
every day, that might be like a whole extra expense that he has to that other woman who might never leave the neighborhood.
Yeah, she just has to go down to like this area and serve yeah.
Interesting.
need ideally to live comfortably in Singapore?
Probably 9 to 11K.
There we go.
Yeah, to live comfortably in Singapore. Lah.
So 9 to 11K a month, right?
Yes, a month. Yeah.
So that would be higher than the average income in the U.S. then to just live comfortably in Singapore, which is interesting that then there's a lot of people that are making way less than the poverty line in the U.S.
I reckon you need at least 80 grand a year, and everything's so expensive. So 80 grand a year, you'll be comfortable.
That's a little more than technically the average, but the median in the U.S. is far, far lower.
Yes,
That's about
yeah.
double the median.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Because there's a lot of very rich. I'm sure it's the same thing with Singapore. For average income, is the extremely wealthy people make the income go up a
What
lot.
are the things that cost the most in Singapore?
I can't say cigarettes, because cigarettes are priced the same everywhere. You know.
It's an interesting one. First
But
thought.
like,
Yeah.
if I wanted to make chicken stew in United Kingdom, I would probably spend 10 quid, 10 pounds the most. In Singapore,
I'm confused
I
about
almost
this man.
spent
He was talking about 10 quid, but he doesn't sound like he has a British accent, and he doesn't
No.
really have the Singaporean accent much. He almost has more of an American accent, but said 10 quid.
I'm very confused.
And the chicken wasn't even fresh. It was frozen, so it was
$37?
confusing to me. Like,
What?
are we being directed to eat out to compensate for more in the economy? Like literally
Interesting.
driving us out? Because in UK, you know, the funny thing is that they encourage you to eat home, but even when you go out, there's like always these deals, like kids get to eat free and, you know, but I don't know. But like, as I'm living this life, this is what I'm seeing, you know.
So you mentioned that you can barely get by, right? Do you feel that you're making a lot of sacrifices in your life in order to survive on the amount that you earn?
Definitely lah. But I think since we are young lah, I think we have more effort, we have more energy to do more stuff lah, like investing and stuff like that. So we have more time lah to plan for the future and stuff like that lah.
This seems like the guy that would be all these companies just want their employee to be. The guy that is just like, well, you know, I'm being worked to death and I don't make enough money,
But I'm young.
I'll make my way there.
Eventually.
That's like the perfect employee right there.
So I think the sacrifice is worth it lah. Yeah.
So what kind of sacrifices do you do?
Time also. I think really lah, since time is of an essence man, so the most sacrifice is time lah for me. Yeah.
What do you feel is the biggest
Hey, at least when
challenge
he's
that impacts
when he's
your
65,
life
he'll
the
be
most
able to go on a
about
vacation.
the high cost of living in Singapore?
Yeah, I think it's a health cost. If there's any health issue, then that will be the most impactful thing. Medical costs will be also high. Yeah, so that is the most challenging one. I hope I don't mean it. Yeah.
现在因为我有生锈，我的
It's a
脚
scary thing when you hear people say, I hope I don't need to go to the doctor.
不大好，没有那个老人的看，现在要30块哎，我不可以看医生了，看这个医生也不可以 ，polyclinic 看了也是不好。
如果你去 polyclinic 看医生，需要多少钱呢？
polyclinic 60啊，60块啊，我还欠他一点，我没有钱还啊，我跟他讲我没有钱，他现在跟我说啊一点钱而已。
Okay, then for people who are considered low income, right, do you feel like the government is doing anything to help, and is it enough?
I believe, yes, I think the government is helping. It's just that a lot of lower income people may not be aware of what are the so-called welfare or benefits that they can gain. I'm not gain, I mean they can seek help. I think they are not sure where is it to, how to get about, how to go about getting it. I think you need more community people to help out, that's all.
This, I have to applaud the government because I do feel like they're doing their part. You know what I mean? Like, I know some of my friends' moms receive money from the government, you know, and that is something I will always appreciate because credit where credit's due, and they are doing their job.
For me, government is now helping more than enough for everyone. You know, I know the government is trying their best to make Singapore a better place, country, all. But slowly, Singapore will be a richest country, maybe number one. You never know. Yeah.
We such a small country, such a small population, right? And you look at our GDP and the amount of social security they're giving to Singaporeans. Only how many percent? Oh, if we start giving welfare, it will bankrupt the country. Look at PSA, one day the turnover, how much they're making, you know. The turnover, I think, is $1 billion, no, one day.
Wow.
How rich is our government, no?
What are they doing then to help the poor people in Singapore?
Yeah, they will tell you. We got this care, com care, what care, all this. But when you go and apply, you think easy to get. The most they give you 3 months, $300 each month. After that, you come and apply again, they tell you sorry. These are facts. But yes, on paper it looks beautiful. You know. We are looking after those who have fallen into the cracks, they tell you. Is it really helping the poor? Really?
If you say cost 300 is not enough, how much do you think will be enough?
How much? You see, first thing you got to take into consideration their family unit. Right? If they've got kids and mother and father is not working or they are, old already, how? Your kids need to be educated. They need to go to school. You got to feed them. So these are the social problems which the government must solve, But then the government also find it difficult to solve.
So what do you think can be done by the government to help these lower income people survive?
This is not Singapore problem. This is a whole world, all country problem. So I don't know how to solve really. You talk about Singapore low and high. India, you see. Philippines, you see. So still no improvement. Let times to tell.
For people that don't live in Singapore and they think that Singaporeans are all very rich, do you have anything that you want to say to them?
I mean, not all Singaporeans are very rich. All the media shows you is all the good part of Singapore, to bring Singapore name up. But if you come to Singapore, you see the inside of Singapore, like this area, then you understand.
The important thing to know is that if you want to come here and you want to live, no one should be able to stop you. That has to be a definite move, you know what I mean? And you should be ready. Every city is tough, mate. If you go to London, you got to live a certain way. You go to Singapore, you live a certain way. Every city is tough. You just got to muster up the courage and live like one, Like in New York, they say you're not New Yorker until you took the cockroach and threw it out of your spaghetti. You know what I mean? That's life.
It's always a greener pasture at other side. That's the thing I can say. So if you are contented and you are very appreciative of what you have and the society and the community, I think you will be a more happier person.
Interesting to learn.
Stay curious.
Basically, in that video, there's like a lot of different takes on it. Some praise for the government on what they're doing for the poor, some criticism to the government what they're doing for the poor. Some people said certain numbers for what's considered poor. Some people said completely different numbers.
Very interesting to see. I mean, everybody obviously has a different life, and their situation is completely different. Their upbringing is completely different, and that can completely change your perspective. If you grew up poor and you grew up with parents that worked nonstop and they still were barely being able to put food on the table, your perspective is going to be totally different than somebody that grew up and the parents always had food. The parents were always always had enough money, and then they're like, you have to go to school and you have to do this and you have to work your way up the ladder. And that's totally different. Your mind would be totally different.
I mean, you always see those things of the rich kids that don't realize that they're rich or whatever. Their family was rich and they're like, oh yeah, they just clearly take everything for granted. And yeah, it's interesting to that perspective can completely shift. Even
a place as small as Singapore can have that massive gap between people's perspectives, and it's interesting to see that laid out here. And they just only went to one area of the city. Yeah, they specifically went to the poorer area, so you'd think it would be more of the same viewpoint, but even there it was different. Yeah, so Singapore, obviously not every country is perfect or city-state, and they got, according to these people, they have some things to work on, and but they seem to be doing pretty good for themselves. They're not very Singapore. It's more like Singa kind of poor, or Singa there are some poor. Singa there are some poor, but overall it's very rich. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.